This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
So, yes, they take care of cattle,
helping you find emotional, spiritual, and physical balance.
Do it well.
What does your future hold? It's time to find out with Psychic Suzanna.
Yes, you are exactly where you need to be. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. We are your destination place to find out and to empower yourself every single week. We're going to bring you information that will support you in your decisions and help you understand what might be going around in your life. This show is centered around you and the questions you have in your life. And it is about giving you the information that will make your life easier. Each day with each thought. We work together to make it a better world. I want you to know you can always find us at PsychicSuzanna.com or go to 1110KFAB.com. By the way, did you know if you need to know anything in the world, in the area, you keep the radio turned on to right here on 1110 KFAB. We have it covered. We cover everything. That auction was so much fun. I saved so much money. That was so cool. I love that. Please check us out. PsychicSuzanna.com gives you the schedule. Life with Psychic Suzanna. We'll tell you who we're coming up on this coming weekend. Let you know what we're talking about. If you have anything that you want to talk about, I will research it, get the best I can in the field. So please go to Susanna Stickney on Facebook or Twitter and send me a message, and I'll try to get it. As a matter of fact, after 8:15, we're going to have a music group called the Southpaw. Isn't that cool?
Paw, as in like animal paw?
Yes, because the show is all about animals today.
Oh, gosh.
Is this how well it's coordinated? Do I coordinate wonderfully?
Oh, yeah.
Well, right now, though, if you've been on Life with Psychic Suzanna or Susanna Stickney on Facebook, you know we're going to be talking to Stephanie Marohn. And she wrote the book, What the Animals Taught Me. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Susanna.
Okay. Now, Stephanie, you have a little bit of an accent. Where are you from?
Oh, an accent? Well, that's interesting. I'm from California. I was originally born in Philadelphia, but it's been many, many, many years since I lived on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. I'm picking up. I would have gone Aussie. Wouldn't you have gone Aussie, Jim?
Yeah, there was a little something there,
You have
Stephanie.
a little bit of a Aussie kind of might have been a past life, but we'll talk about this life.
Or it could be that I've traveled the world and I've just been listening to people a lot and picking up the way they're talking.
Isn't it amazing how we all learn from each other every moment? What you're going to talk to us about today is about animal rescues and what the animals have taught you. The book is What the Animals Taught Me. Tell me, how did you come about writing this book?
Yeah, I've been writing for many years. This is my 10th book. Most of my books are on natural medicine, but I began at the same time that I was writing all these other books. All these animals were arriving in my life, and really, I believe this is my life path. I believe I came in with a very strong connection to animals that was not deterred by being bitten by a St. Bernard right in the face when I was 2 years old.
Oh, my God, that would have turned a lot of people away.
Yeah, and I had to have stitches and everything, and I was completely undeterred. It did not make dogs scary to me at all. So I think that speaks to the powerful connection I had. And when I was 4 years old, I was climbing in over the fence into the area where these big, huge pigs were. I just loved the pigs. So I've been connected with the animals from the very beginning, I think. And so I really just came back to what is home for me. And that was when I moved to the country. I had been living in one city or another for since being an adult. You know, as a child, I lived in the country. But the animals started arriving as soon as I moved to the country, and it was really like they were saying, "Well, where have you been?" And so,
what do you mean they started arriving? I mean,
well, it was like 2 days after I moved to this house in the country. This wild cat showed up who was dying and needed me to save his life, and so and I was ambivalent about having animals because I love to travel. I was a kind of a carefree person and loved to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
And that cat needed me, and there was no way I was going to deny that cat anything. And so that was the beginning. And the next was a little horse. I could see this little horse on a tether, which, for those of your listeners who don't know, it's a spike in the ground with a rope on it, and the animal can just go round and round, and they tangle up their rope, and this little horse would kick over her water bucket, and I couldn't bear to see it. I could see it from my office window where I was sitting writing at my computer. So I went over there to talk to the neighbors about what was going on with this, and they didn't want to keep the horse like this either, and so they passed the horse over to me. And so,
wow,
yeah, and then,
and so, do you have a place where it's fenced in? And
at the time, I was living on 8 acres that were completely fenced. It was a setup for horses. So there were some horses there that I was taking care of for the owner. And that's the other thing, is that to keep a herd or a flock animal alone is really a form of cruelty. And for horses or sheep, which were the next to arrive, you really cannot keep them alone and have them be happy and who they're supposed to be, because they are herd and flock animals. So there were horses on the property where I was, and this horse was so thrilled to join this group of animals. There was also a donkey there who became her soulmate, really. I've never seen a connection like the two of them had. It was really quite something. And she chose the donkey out of all the other hoofed animals there. And the donkey chose her as well. They were the best of friends. And then sheep arrived. There was 2 ewes that needed a home, and one of them had a lamb, and of course I was not going to separate mother and child. And then after they arrived, the other ewe had a baby. So it was really, that was the beginning. Now I have more donkeys that needed a home, and it's just grown from there. And I am so privileged and honored to have provided these animals with a home. They're all rescues. And I started with what I call the Animal Messenger Sanctuary, because I believe that all animals have serious messages for humans. And one of the big messages is, you all better stop dirtying your nest. You're destroying the planet. You need to stop treating nature the way you're treating nature, and have some respect for nature, which is ultimately have some respect for yourself.
You bet. All right, we're going to take a little bit break, and then we're going to come back and listen to the languages, the lessons that you've learned from your animals. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. We're talking to Stephanie Marohn. What the Animals Taught Me is her book. We'll be right back.
Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
This is Life with Psychic Suzanna, 1110 KFAB. This is the place you come every Sunday night to grow, to learn how to handle your life a little bit better. We give you knowledge with the best experts around. Please find us at psychicsuzanna.com. You get a free question. You get my schedule. Please go to KFAB.com. That's all the information you ever need to know. As it's on Facebook, Life with Psychic Suzanna, or Susanna Stickney on Facebook and Twitter. If there's anything you want to talk about, we want to talk about it with you. The show is centered around you and your questions you have in your life, and it's about giving you the information that will make your life easier every day with each thought. Together, we can make the world a better place. We will be taking your calls. The numbers are going to be 1-800-543-1110 or 558-1110. I want you to know, after we're done talking to Stephanie Marohn, who wrote the book, What the Animals Taught Me, we're going to be talking to the Midwest Dog Rescue Group. So it's all what you want to hear right here. If you're an animal lover, animals teach us a lot of things. Stephanie, what is the overall lesson you feel that you've learned from animals?
Well, Susanna, I want to say that the lesson that I learned, I think that the animals have this lesson to teach us all, which is how to be better human beings. And that's kind of an interesting thing to say, that an animal can teach us how to be a better human being.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really about unconditional love. They model unconditional love for us. And when we ourselves learn how to love unconditionally, we treat others with respect, we let go of judgment, we let go of living from the wounds of our past, we have greater trust in life and in each other, and we're able to connect on a very deep level with ourselves, with other human beings, with animals, with all of nature, and with our higher self. So all of this, it sounds like a very tall order, but it really unfolds naturally when you open your heart to an animal. And you can do this you can come to these same messages, of course, through opening yourself to nature, to other human beings. People walk their own paths in this way. There's great humanitarians that have this same message. But for me, my path was to come to this through animals. And they teach me every day. And along with unconditional love, I really think the sub-message of that is being able to accept the other, whoever that is, an animal or a person, as who they are rather than who we want them to be.
Well, one of the things you said is about giving up the, what was it, the wounds of the past.
Living from the wounds of the past, out of our fear or our anger or our hurt.
You know, I find it's easier for so many people to communicate with animals rather than humans, because animals don't seem to judge us, do they?
No, they really don't. And they also don't have the kind of egos that we have as humans.
Yeah, none that we know. So, if we harm slap a dog, and 10 minutes later the dog's back with us, there is a divine lesson in that. First, don't slap a dog, but also to let go of that anger. That's a very great lesson from the animals.
Yes, it is, and I want to say that every time you do that slap, that has a cost in your relationship with that dog. That dog may love you, but the more slaps, the more fear comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a question to ask yourself, do you really want a relationship that's based on control and fear on your part, that you're putting that out, or do you want one that's based on partnership and cooperation? And I have found that a relationship based on partnership and cooperation with the animals, everything just works better. Putting a halter on a horse works better. Putting a dog on a leash when you have to, when you're in a place where for the dog's safety they need to be on a leash. It all just goes better. It's just a smooth flow as opposed to a struggle.
So if we have this is the Great Midwest, we have a lot of farms and acreages around here. Is there a way that we can, if we have an acreage or a farm, it must be costly. Is it costly?
Yes, it is, and I've made it my life's path, so I'm willing to take that on. I ask for donations. I have a fiscal sponsor, so I can offer tax-deductible donations.
Mm-hmm.
But what I say to people is, you don't need to start. I just want to add that the subtitle of my book is "Stories of Love and Healing from a Farm Animal Sanctuary."
Mm-hmm.
I have made, it was just so happened that I was led to provide a safe haven for farm animals because it's one of the areas where there is not as much attention. There are a lot of people rescuing dogs and cats, which is wonderful, but I wanted to focus on this. But what I say to people is you can create a sanctuary in every moment of your life. You don't need to start a formal animal sanctuary in order to have an impact on the world. If you have the resources and the time and energy to do that, wonderful. But there are many organizations in existence that you can help. But the main lesson that I'm putting out here is that we create a sanctuary in every moment of our lives in the way we interact with every being that we encounter. So that person at the checkout counter, if you do not acknowledge the existence of that person, look at them, say hello. Just have a moment of connection that you really see them, you acknowledge them, instead of talking on your cell phone through the line. That's a moment of sanctuary there where you create a moment of connection. And I find that I'm just energized when I go through a day like that. I think it actually saps our energy not to acknowledge the beings that we encounter, whether they're a human or a tree or a dog. And I think in the way that we treat the beings that are already in our life, many people have animals already. So there's a question, just consider, how are you treating this animal in your life? Is it all about you and you wanting to win and you feeling like you've got to be in control? Or is it really about the greater good of the animal as well? And any two beings have to figure out a way to live together. So it's not about you being walked all over. It's really about you can put in the boundaries that you need, since these are animals living in our homes in many cases for dogs and cats. But you do it in such a way that it's loving, respectful. You're honoring who that being is. You're not forcing a dog that needs a lot of exercise to live in the house all the time. You're really considering what is this species and what does this species need, and who is this individual within that species, and what does this individual need?
I must tell you, just between you and me, Stephanie, and everyone listening,
yes,
I have a 4-pound toy poodle that my husband walks on a leash every day and is hilarious, but my husband talks more to that dog than to me, I think. Sometimes I get a little jealous of Max, the poodle, But there's something very safe and loving about having an animal. There's something very safe and loving. And do you find that you get healing from them when you coexist with them? Do you find that you're healed by their energy?
Absolutely. I think it goes both ways. I've had a number of animals in my, of course, rescue involves often animals that have been abused. So the healing that happens, it's a paired healing. Both of us get healing as both of us recover. It's like parallel track of healing. And I think that this is a role that a lot of animals fill in people's lives. And if you can consider their healing as well, it's again, a beautiful partnership. I love what you said about your husband and the poodle, because I think that...
Well, actually, I just want you to visualize this. He's a 74-year-old, handsome, big, beautiful man with a 4-pound dog, and he walks around the yard, the neighborhood. And my husband can tell you the names of the dogs, but not the owners. I mean, there's a whole society of dog walkers in the area, but it's amazing the joy a little 4-pound puppy can do.
It really is. And the other part of that is that the response that, like you were saying earlier, the response that we get from animals is so really, I got from what you were saying, that it's such a pure response. We might try to be friendly to a human, and they might be in a bad mood, and they might turn around and talk about bark at us. And the human might turn around and not be so nice. So, but with a dog that has not been abused and so has behavior that can be dangerous. When they've been abused, they can act out in those ways.
Right.
But a little dog walking around the neighborhood, most often you meet friendly dogs, and they don't have any of those other kinds of responses where they're not in a good mood, so they don't treat you well. They're happy to see you, and how wonderful is that?
We'll be right back. We need to take another break. Stephanie, have I pronounced your last name right?
Yes, you certainly did. Thank you.
I am so excited. Sometimes I get the names wrong. We are talking to Stephanie Marohn, and she wrote the book, What the Animals Taught Me. And this is really stories of love and healing from Farm Animal Sanctuary. We'll be right back. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna. You stay tuned. This is the only place you need to be on Sunday night, because we're going to have a great time together.
Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. She knew I was going to say that.
You are exactly where you need to be every Sunday night at 7:30. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. What this show is about is empowering you to get past your problems of today, moving you into your future with the knowledge we bring you every week. Today we're talking about the healing prospect of animals. What animals have taught me is the name of the book. That's with Stephanie Marohn. This is 1110 KFAB. Find us at PsychicSuzanna.com, KFAB.com. This show will go up online on KFAB. And if you've ever thought about helping other animals, or if you have an acreage or a farm, I think the saddest things is when we hear people can't afford to feed their horses and things like that. So reaching out, and in the big book, it talks about what you do for the least of us, you do for the world. So take care of each other and join me on Facebook, Life with Psychic Suzanna, Susanna Stickney on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, right now we're going back to Stephanie. Stephanie?
Yes.
What animals taught me? By the way, I just want you to know how creative I am today. We've got a banjo group playing who are called Southpaw Bluegrass.
I'm guessing that's PAW.
Yes. Isn't that exciting, though? All paws today. One of the things I want to ask you about is the upkeep and how many hours do you have to put into the upkeep of the farm animals?
Well, I could spend all day if I wanted to, but I'm a writer and I have to make a living. So it's really, I don't have a gigantic farm animal sanctuary. There's a couple of them. I worked for a while at one not far from me called Animal Place, and they had, at the time, they had 400 some animals, including,
oh, good Lord.
Yeah, including a lot of chickens. A lot of them were chickens, ducks, geese. There were probably 200 of those, and then maybe 200 other ones. And really, in a situation like that, you're just taking care of animals all day long, the feeding, cleaning, and attending to any medical needs. I realized as a result of working there that that's not what I wanted. I have a different model going, which is I'm not going to save a ton of animals, but what I'm going to do is model the kind of relationship that's possible between animals and humans. And there's a lesson in this for all of us. Any of us who live with animals, my book really talks about how you can deepen your relationship with the animal in your life. And so what I'm modeling here is that kind of relationship. And in order to do that, I can't have 200 animals.
Understand.
So, yeah, so I keep the numbers small.
And you're serving by writing. I mean, to be honest with you, that by writing, you're helping us understand this whole process a little bit more. How do we find you, Stephanie? How do we find information about you?
Yeah, my website is StephanieMarohn.com. It's StephanieMarohn, Marohn.com. And there's a whole section on the sanctuary in there, and there's a section about my books. People, I would love it if people could make a donation to the sanctuary. It's tax deductible through my fiscal sponsor, which is a horse sanctuary.
Okay.
So that's all wonderful. And in answer to your question about how much time I spend, I really, it's probably 3 hours at a minimum a day when things are going fine. When there's a health problem, it would be more. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on to the show. I found great gentleness in this book.
Oh, thank you so much.
And great gentleness in this book. And as we go out, we're talking with Stephanie Marohn, What the Animals Taught Me. That's Southpaw Bluegrass Band taking us out. We're coming right back with Midwest Dog Rescue. We have someone coming in the show who's going to tell us a little bit about rescuing animals. We'll be right back. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. Yes, this is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. And in the background, we've got the Southpaw Bluegrass Band playing as we come in, and we'll lower them a little bit more, boys. I got to tell you, the guitar player tells me it's the banjo guy who makes the most noise, but I'm not sure. That's David and Steve from the Southpaw Bluegrass Band. We'll be talking to them later. Right now, we're going to be talking to two beautiful women. We're talking to Monica and Deanne. Monica and Deanne, I reached out to them, after finding out we're going to do the book we did, we wanted to talk about rescuing, animal rescuing. This is what our thoughts were today about rescuing and understanding the importance of taking care of the animals. So right now, let's go to and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Monica and Deanne. Can we hear them?
Yep.
All right. Monica and Deanne. Now tell me about the Midwest Dog Rescue Network. What is it exactly?
Well, it's a multi-breed rescue that we started in 2007. Midwest Dog Rescue Network is also our names. There's 4 of us, Monica, Dee, Rose, and Nikki. And we've homed about 900 dogs since 2007. We got involved with puppy mills.
900?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get to be 900 dogs?
We get dogs through puppy mill closing auctions and rural shelters that have limited space and limited resources. And we help the ones that don't have room, and we get them out and get them into foster care and get them fixed. And
now, what does that mean? We get them into foster care. Now, I've talked to the Humane Society a couple times. What is this foster care thing you're doing?
Well, foster care is the animals go into homes, individuals' homes, where they are basically glorified pet sitters for our dogs until they find homes. We take care of all the vetting of the animals that come in. And our foster
You take
homes,
care of all the vet costs?
All the vet bills. We get them spayed, neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, worms, and if they have
microchipped?
Yes, all of our dogs are microchipped this way. If for any reason they get lost or get loose out of somebody's yard, and say the Nebraska Humane Society, or if you're 2 states away, picks up the dog, you scan them, and they can say, hey, that dog belongs to so-and-so. We can call them, and that gets the dogs back.
Wow.
And so every one of our dogs and the cats that we do also get microchipped. This way they can always find their way home if for some reason they get lost.
And so tell me about some of the animals you've rescued. Tell me.
Well, from the little chihuahuas that we have here to...
That we're going to put up on Facebook so you can see them.
We've had Mastiffs and Great Danes. The recent one that comes to mind is a Great Dane that we tried to save because the owner couldn't afford the vet bill, and we wound up putting a lot of money into the sweet girl, but her damage to the insides was too far gone, and she didn't make it.
That's almost horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you lose an animal, yeah.
And, they just didn't have the money, and we says, okay, well, we don't have a lot, but we'll give it a try. And she stayed with us for probably about 2 weeks before she lost her back. Her insides weren't strong enough to take the surgery. Mm-hmm. But we've also had in little dogs that have come from, they get surrendered at some of these small rural shelters, and they're full of mange and flea dermatitis, and they just are a wreck. And we take care of them until they're healthy. And so you're doing what our Stephanie Marohn does. You rescue these animals, and you help them to get better. This one's licking me. I can tell. He likes your shirt.
He likes my cologne. It really does. And it goes for the gold. I noticed that. Smart dog.
That's a Chihuahua.
Going for the gold. Now, so tell me, what is it? Now, so what kind of person helps foster animals?
We've been pretty lucky around the Omaha metro area. We've found a lot of good homes. We've got a few out in Lincoln, and a lovely family up in Norfolk that fosters for us. It's just people willing to open up their heart to dogs they're not going to keep but want to take care of, until they find a good home.
It's sort of like foster care for children. I could never do that.
It's usually people that already have pets, that love their pets and want to help other pets. They might not have room in their house to have another one full time, but they can bring one in, help it out, and send it on its way to its forever home.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, if you have one pet, okay, and like a little, say you have a toy poodle, okay, and you wanted to foster, would that toy poodle accept it? I mean, how does the fostering go with other dogs?
It usually goes it usually goes pretty well. I mean, you'll know at the beginning whether your dog wants another dog in the house right away.
Right.
Says, if not, they will let you know.
And sometimes it takes a couple different dogs. You may get a dog in that your dog just doesn't appreciate, or it's too rambunctious for your dog, and then we'll find you a different dog to foster that is a little more sedate, or an older dog that just likes to, more of a couch potato. And that sometimes is much easier to accept than a rambunctious puppy.
So if they foster these dogs, how do they call you if they've got a home so they can foster a dog? Well,
if anybody's interested in fostering, all they have to do is contact us via our website, and I'll be happy to.
The website is Midwest Dog Rescue Network?
Yes. MidwestDogRescueNetwork.com. And
a lot of people don't have computers. I hate to tell you
well,
that.
then that's why my phone rings.
When people have phone,
And I get that sometimes. Hey, I don't have and I take down their information, and then I try to arrange to come. And then we all come out. Well, not we all, but we come out to your house to see your dogs, your living arrangements, because we don't want to send like a small breed Chihuahua, and then I go over to your house and you've got two, labs that won't stop. Well, my Chihuahua's going to get hurt if I put him there.
Yeah, and then they'll probably think the Chihuahua is a lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
So we match, just like our homes, we match our foster homes up for what dogs they have.
I went to your website, and the things you wrote me was wonderful about the care and taking care of the dogs. I find dogs are such a blessing for children and for adults. I mean, my husband walks the dog, so he's out there getting his exercise every day.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And my husband talks to the dog, so I know he's learning to stay communicative. Not to his wife, but we'll talk about that another time.
That's another show.
That's another show.
Well, and my nephew when he comes into town, the first thing he wants to do is, okay, when are we going to take dogs for a walk?
Yeah.
I mean, he loves them.
And there's something very loving and supportive about this, about being a pet owner, because it does teach your children responsibility, and it does teach and a pet sometimes in a home where there's a lot of stress can also calm the family down, can't they?
Yes. When you've had a bad day at work or a bad day even at home, you take the dog out or the cat or the bird, whatever you have, and they're very calming.
I want to thank you, Monica and Deanne, for coming back and talking to us about the Midwest Dog Rescue Network. Please go online, please, if you have a few minutes and you have the room. And if you can, please think about adopting and being a foster care home for these animals. One thing that I when I do readings, I see, I was on Unsolved Mysteries because I see spirits, right? So a lot of times dogs come to me or pets come to me, and they tell me to their parent that they want them to get another animal. And these parents are devastated when their dog dies. And the thing is, if you're good with one animal, what a blessing. There's other animals that need to know your blessing. They need you to reach out to them.
Yes.
So I think what we do with the animals are very, very important. Thank you for stopping by. We will put this picture up on Facebook. You'll get to see the cute little chihuahuas we're holding.
Suzanne, we also do off-sites where we go to pet stores with our dogs. And we're actually going to be, next Sunday, we're going to be at the Bellevue Dog Obedience Club's open house at their training building on Sunday from noon to 4.
Where is that located, honey?
It's on Applewood.
Yep.
It's 1115 Applewood.
What is it called again?
It's called the Bellevue Dog Obedience Club. And we have the training building, and they're doing an open house. And there's going to be, all kinds of agility stuff and everything. People can bring their own dogs out. They can meet the foster dogs.
What a great time. Sort of like a dog party.
Yep, it is going to be a dog party.
I love that.
There's going to be games for the dogs and for the owners.
I love that. I appear in a place that does foster care in Sioux City, and they're doing a cookie bake to see who has the best cookies. Anyway,
yum.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
God bless you, and thank you for rescuing animals, and your loving attention is always appreciated.
Thank you.
This is Life with Psychic Suzanna. We're Bluegrass Boys. Let's take me out. All right, this is 1110 KFAB. Stay tuned.
This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.